Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Ash of Creation discussion round. I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, I'm. Today we will have to do the podcast without my pretty face. I do apologize to all of my viewers, to all the viewers. Okay, so yeah, little quick side note why I'm here today without webcam. Yeah, my apartment got flooded. So I'm currently, yeah, at a hotel, but I think we should be fine. All right, so let's jump right into this. So what's the first thing we're gonna talk about? The live stream.
Live stream, yes.
All right, then same question as always. What was the favorite part about the live stream?
Favorite part?
Yes, your favorite part about the live stream.
Probably seeing the terror bird in the being walked around. They talked a lot about how much work they have until Alpha 2. Well, a few things I kind of liked, but it was your standard live stream for pretty much at this point. Like the same formula. It's not a bad formula. It's a good formula. They got going on.
I feel like this is kind of, I don't know, petty of me. I think my favorite part, though, was just them kind of saying, like, yeah, we're being transparent and we'll take feedback, but we're not going to, feedback isn't going to compromise our design goals.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
that was a little, like a little reassuring, because it's one of those things, like, especially with some of these design goals that some of us like that aren't popular, it's kind of reassuring to hear them say, like,
100%.
I'm completely just assuming they're the things that I like, so who knows? But
no,
yeah, go on.
I 100% agree with you because, like, sometimes I'll look at the fucking forums and the dev discussion questions, and then I see a bunch of things that are people post, and I look at and I'm like, no, why? That would change the game from Steven's vision. Don't change the game from Steven's vision. I backed Steven's vision. And then sometimes I'm like, feedback's good. You need to change a couple of things.
You see, this is something that has been going on since day one. People think what they like, what they describe as something they want to see in game is feedback, which it isn't.
No.
Which it isn't. Like every time I don't know, like the combat question comes up, people are like, I want action combat. I'm like, okay, but this isn't feedback. They're like, no, this is feedback. I'm like, no, it's not. And we had this conversation on this show so many times that a lot of people, they don't even know what action combat is. There is no like real action combat. There's free aim, there's combo, there's just BDO-like fast-paced AoE spam. So them like saying that, you know, they are willing to listen to the feedback, but they're not gonna like let it, you know, impact their design choices. That's the proper way to do it. Because remember when we did when they did the combo bar thing?
Yeah.
That was like proper feedback. They gave us something, we said yes or no, and that's proper feedback. Somebody coming in, like for example, like when I was like 2-3 weeks ago when I got in a big argument on Discord again, and some guy came in, some new guy, and he was like, yeah, you know, rating should be like this and this. And I'm like, yeah, you're pretty much just describing WoW rating, and WoW rating at the current state is just broken. He's like, no, this is good feedback. I'm like, no, this is you coming in and telling us, the people that were reading, what you want. That's not how this works. And it just got in a big argument, and I got a little bit toxic
I
again.
Disagree. I mean, it's like, to me, saying what you want isn't.
I don't see that as a form of feedback.
I don't. I mean, I think it is to some degree feedback. But at the same, to me, like the feedback becomes an issue when there's almost like I want to call like a gamer entitlement thing. It's like kind of the gamer's always right mentality, and when devs don't appeal to, I guess I see this in WoW, where like the whole pull the ripcord thing. Okay, yeah, full this is where my mind's at. The full pull the ripcord thing, where in WoW they introduced covenants. The design goal of covenants was they wanted to introduce choice that gave you power. Players did not want that, but the designers went ahead, and there's like almost this arrogance to a lot of, at least the content creators I was watching, when it came to the whole idea of they need to pull the ripcord, when it, to me, pulling the ripcord went completely against the goal of the system in the first place.
What do you mean by pulling the ripcord?
So it was with the covenants. People wanted you to be able to freely switch covenants, like you could freely switch talents.
Yes.
But listen to Ian. The goal of covenants was to introduce a choice to players that gave you power.
Like an impact.
So allowing people to freely change completely, like, really remove that choice and remove that power. But the way players, I just saw this kind of like entitlement around. I don't know if entitlement's right.
No, you're correct.
But it was like this: we're right, and you just need to do what we say. And I felt like what they were saying was going against the whole design goal of the system to begin with, and it just was. And then I don't know, it just created negativity in the community, because the community was like, "You're not listening to us," but it was like, well, you're also not listening to them. This is what they wanted the system to be.
I think a lot of situations like this, especially when it comes now to Ashes, is a lot of people come in and they just heard about the project and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have this great idea. They should put this in the game," and they consider this feedback, right? A lot of people would understand, and this is just my strong belief, that a lot of people would not give the feedback, or whatever, if you want to call it feedback, that they give if they would have read up on everything Ashes. Like, for example, Steven wants to make his MMORPG. He doesn't want to make a WoW killer. He doesn't want to make the big next MMORPG. He wants to make an MMORPG that he wants to make. Right? He
wants to make an MMORPG that'll that it's for the set audience that he wants to make it for.
Exactly.
He wants to make it his RPG, but it's
and he has a set vision for the game. And that set vision has been described over the past 4.5 years. Right? Like, people, they just, in my opinion, is if you want to give productive feedback, right, you need something first to give feedback about. If you just state something that you want, that for me is not feedback. That's like, okay, you want that, but that's not like productive in the overall.
It's one of those things, I guess. I mean, this is also like, it almost gets into territory like feedback overload, where it's like you get so much feedback, it's not even worth it. But
like, I see,
coming from a designer, sometimes just like hearing that random opinion, it like puts you, like, changes your thought process.
Exactly.
And feels like, oh, people want this kind of thing. I didn't actually think about that. Is there a way I can incorporate it? So that's why I think, like,
yeah, but
kind of just saying what you want can have value.
Yeah, I know, but it's just one single person. When it comes to game development and reaching or making a game that, you know, is supposed to be enjoyable for a large audience, just listening to one person, you know, is not really a good way to do it. If they have some way to, you know, sort, filter, and all that
person.
Yeah.
But it'd be like, oh, I heard, yeah, that one person said it, but I've also heard that from 50 other people.
Yeah, then yes.
So, but like, in order for you to have that situation, that like 50 people need to say that one opinion.
Exactly. So, like,
in isolation, that one guy, yeah, doesn't have much value, but like, if other people say it, then yeah.
Like, for example, when Alpha 1 was over, like the next day, I wrote, I think, like 2 pages on like feedback stuff regarding everything, with the first line being, "I am well aware that everything in Alpha 1 is placeholder." So this is not critique at, you know, regards to what is to come. This is critique and feedback in regards to what was displayed and shown in Alpha 1. And then I send that over to Intrepid Studio. I think that's the way, you know, you should do. I don't know. Like, I feel like if you want to be productive, wait till they give us something and then give feedback on that based on what you like and don't like. Like, for example, this is the Terror Bird. Do you like it? Yes or no? If you don't like it, tell us why. Not come in and be like, yeah, I want a pony with 3 heads that shoots rainbows.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of single people, like individuals, gave feedback on the dwarves and how they didn't like the dwarves. They didn't think they were like stocky enough, and that is something that like individuals said. Yeah, in isolation, that one person's comment doesn't mean much, but a bunch of people saying the same thing, and then
yeah, but that was after
like, oh, yeah, you're right.
That was after we saw the dwarves. So there's a difference again. You see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
If that, so is that where you're coming from?
Yeah, I'm coming from.
You have to have the system to critique the system.
Exactly, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, literally, I would be talking about raids and what I want in Ashes like every day. But that's not really like, you know.
I mean, if it's fun for you.
Yeah, I know, but it's too many.
Yeah, I know.
Too many.
No, I kind of get where you're coming from, especially with the combat changes, where it was it's just been kind of weird where there's been people on the forums that are like they're against the split body, but they also want like other aspects of but what they want or how they imagine combat would be different from what we currently have.
I don't think
that made any sense.
Honestly,
so like they would need to change how like mobs attack you and stuff like that to actually get what they want combat to be.
I think way too many people are way too vocal about combat. People that don't know what they're talking about and do not really know what they want.
I kind of agree. I mean, I talked to a lot of tab people who aren't really against free aim combat. They just don't want some of the trappings that comes with action combat, like the fast pace, the dodge rolls.
Yeah,
like,
that's.
I think the pace of the combat is something that scares a lot of tab players.
I mean, Steven.
So it's like,
you see, like for just to iterate and get back to what I was saying earlier, people don't read up on Ashes. Steven says he doesn't want like super fast combat. He wants combat to be more strategic and, you know, tactical. Right, if you remember correctly. So if people would know that before talking about action combat, they would understand, okay, so this, whatever combat we're going to get is not going to be like Super Ninja Combo Power, Turbo Power Ranger fast combat. So yeah.
I guess I do have a retort for that, where it would just be like, and this is something that Steven knows, and they repeat, combat is like the main way you play the game. It's very important. And I think a lot of like Peon, I know I've said this a lot, and other people have said this a lot. Like for this game the combat really needs to be good, and you can take that tactical design goal where you want to, but like you still need to at the core make sure that combat is fun. And I also don't think that necessarily changes to combat would compromise the game.
Yep. You see
in
that,
a big way.
And here again, like what makes fun combat? That's the thing. Like what makes fun combat?
I was listening to a video, and I think this was like a good high level idea. Is fun is a function of decisions over time. So you take that as you will. In action combat, you're constantly having to be like, okay, do I dodge this? Can I hit this? In a lot of tab systems, it's kind of just you going through the motions, doing your rotation, maybe countering a skill every now and like interrupting a certain skill.
Tab is very heavily based on rotations and stuff like that. Yeah.
But also like positioning and knowing what the other guy does. While in games like, I don't know, Black Desert Online, it feels more like
you're a tab guy. We know this. We've
no, I'm not necessarily a tab guy. I played Black Desert Online for 4.5 years. I'm just
Black Desert, shitty example of action combat.
I mean,
Yeah,
I played Guild Wars almost as long as I did like World of Warcraft.
That's hybrid combat. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like, you see,
a-
like that's my problem. It's not a problem. It's just like when I see people talk about, especially like you guys as guild leader, when I see people talking about like action combat, I really feel like they're all screaming, "I want action combat," yada yada, but they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they want.
yes.
Like
I can agree with that, but at the same time, I think there is a feeling they want.
Yeah, well,
And
what
I
is that
think
feeling?
wanting for it, well, they don't necessarily know. That's sometimes on the designers and the game developers to figure out. Okay, there's something that these people want, a feeling these people want, and I mean, it was kind of like what Margaret said in the stream about the melee weapon, how people thought this wasn't doing as much damage as other melee weapons, but it was really just the animation didn't feel right. And once they changed the animation, it wasn't doing more damage with the animation, but the change to the animation made it feel like it was more impactful. So it's kind of a situation like that, where just people saying like they want action combat to some degree is some value to them.
Okay, so if we're talking about like if we're talking about making it feel impactful, that's more like
this is becoming an argument between action and tab.
we're going off topic. This is
we're
probably going
we're going off topic and we're going in circles.
I want to talk about this now. All right, they talked about that they're going back and redoing the combat system. Correct? They talked about that in the live stream, right?
Yeah, we've heard a lot of things, but yeah,
okay, no, like the point, like it's not even a point I want to make because it's just. I'm curious now, right? Because I'm always like reading, like I want action combat, no. And if you bring up impactfulness, that is more about like special like effects and audio cues, right? And then I read other people saying like they want a combat system, action combat system in air quotes, with a high skill level, right? And those are like the same type of people that never really went far in like a tab targeting game like World of Warcraft in like arena systems. Because I just recently watched the World Championships, right? And from my point of view, and I don't know if I'm mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please correct me. World of Warcraft has still the largest PvP scene in any MMOR out there that is displayed.
Well, that's kind of just because in name.
Okay.
I don't think mechanics wise, I think other games could beat it. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's hard to say. It's just like
no, like
I play WoW Arena, and yeah, there's fun moments, but I've also had more fun moments in other games.
That's what I'm.
And like I think the core of the message.
Like what actually, I'm trying to.
Sorry, you continue.
What I'm trying to get at is, a lot of people scream action combat. A lot of those people don't know what they're talking about. And that is like the end of the conversation. And the only thing we can really hope for from Intrepid Studio is that they provide a combat system that is fun to play for everybody, casual, hardcore, whatever, but also is easy to play but hard to master. It has a really high skill ceiling, right? And for somebody to create something like that would make everybody happy is like finding a unicorn. So no matter what they do, somebody's not gonna be happy.
Yeah, so vaguely. So like the problem with that is like everyone says that too, but you're vaguely describing a system, and then that's how they describe how they want to design the system. But you're giving a vague description of a system, and like everyone like that sounds great, but like the problem is like everyone has their own idea of what that is,
exactly.
And then also you're having to design like we can't like say, oh, this is it, until like we actually have the system in front of us. So like I don't know. I still think this whole conversation is.
We might be going in
circles. I love this conversation.
Yoki, okay. I feel like we still haven't actually done the circles yet, but this might be where we start it because you talk about all the action people and how they say they want action.
Yeah.
Well, listening to the tab players, because I'm on the other side of this, a lot of them don't seem to actually are very tied to the idea of tab. It's just some things other mechanics they've seen in action systems are what they don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my counter to that, where it's like, well, you'd probably be fine with a free aim system that is just not as fast paced, that actually has like cast times and isn't just spam instant casts and dodge all over the place. So yeah, I guess that's my other side of it. But I think to get to the core of it, people expressing a desire for at least a feel to combat, I think is kind of helpful.
I mean, every time I see one of these conversations, I never really see people describing exactly what they want.
And I don't think you can.
You can
I
describe.
think you need to keep it high level, just because it's like you don't want to like say the combat needs to be exactly like this, like the auto attack needs to look like this, and this needs to happen here, and blah blah blah. I think it kind of needs to keep it vague, and then with that direction, they come up with something, and then we're like, okay, this aspect of this we like, this aspect of this we don't like. What can happen?
You can do the same thing with like other games mechanic. You can take a game that does tap target, and a game that does hybrid, and a game that does action, and then describe like how like a game that you like, and describe like how it feels, what you think, like where you think it needs improvements, where you think like, and then they can kind of work off of that, and then that's how that's probably the best way you can describe like what you're trying to aim for.
I think the best fit that would make everybody happy is a free aim version with cast times and stuff and channels of Guild Wars 2.
I think Guild Wars 2, yeah.
That or WoW. Like a free aim WoW. I would love
free aim WoW. Yeah, I can dig that. Free aim WoW. Yeah, I can dig that.
Maybe with some skills that actually you can cast while on the move, kind of like how I think we had them in Kata, where like shamans were able to cast like lightning bolt, and I think mages can do scorch on the move. With some like a few more skills like that, and then maybe a few more skills that are like melee cast time skills.
If they would,
sorry, I'm going into too much detail.
No. If they would do something that, but then add like some sort of reactive stuff to it. Like for example, left mouse button is your attack, your basic attack, and then on the right mouse button you have like a block or dodge or whatever, or shield up, something like something that makes it more reactive. Then you can have mobility skills of your choice. That would make the game, depending on what you like, more like fast paced or not.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's fast paced. It's just like having that option to react to something.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's like one thing I've always kind of said, that we should have an active block, just because just having that option to be like, I want to defend myself, instead of like, wow, it's I'd like to defend myself, but
exactly,
I don't have a 2-minute cooldown up, so I'm just gonna take this to the face and smile about it.
All right, what's the next thing you guys want to talk about?
Okay, well, I think we're still talking about live.
And we never left the live stream. You guys went off topic.
We just talked about what we liked about it.
We go off topic all the time, and they talked about combat in the live stream.
Live stream. Okay, so the gliding mounts, different distances based.
You guys want to talk about the cat?
I mean, that's not that big of a deal, but it makes sense.
I knew BCG was gonna want to talk about the fucking cat. You want to talk about the cat, BCG?
I don't really want to talk about the cat. It's a mount, looks like a cat. End of the conversation.
I feel like you don't like it.
I don't know.
Stackerson, how do you feel about the cat?
I thought the cat was freaking adorable. I love the cat.
Of course, you like the cat.
It's kind of one of those things that I think fits with Ashes, is because we have so many things that like they take things from the real world, like our world, and like slightly distort it in some way that you're like, I recognize that, but that's a little weird, and I love it.
You love the cat,
and the cat's like, that looks like a Maine Coon.
That's what I'm just gonna say.
Big, but bred with a bear, as Steven said.
It's so it's straight up like I don't think it looks like, I wasn't exactly at 100% happy. I felt like, I don't know if this fits or not, but then I got to thinking about it, is like straight up like, this is straight up what you would think, like you want to ride a Maine Coon, like this is like, it's not like impossible for like this cat to exist. It's straight up just like, Maine Coons are already like so big, and you can imagine a goblin riding it. This is just like, if you see a Maine Coon, you're like, I want to ride that.
I have a Himalayan, which some people say they're like half Maine Coons. So I love the breed. So to see like one that you can ride in game is just awesome.
Okay,
They're very like loving cats. So
I'm gonna say this as always. Looks really cool, really well done. Not something I would ride.
I'd read it.
I feel
I'm a
like
lizard,
I feel
if
like
I can be a lizard.
we have way too many cute and nice looking cosmetics.
I was thinking about that recently. I like lie in bed and I think about it. I'm not going to use all these cosmetics, but like half the reason I buy the cosmetics is, or like at this point, 75% is just to give them more money
Yeah,
to
same
help
here.
support the development. So
I
it's
mean,
like
it's the reason
I guess I'm cool with it. It's like, you know, maybe every now and then I bust out the Maine Coon. But no, this is an in-game mount, so you're not even going
Yeah.
to. But I mean, you'll probably put a skin on it. So, cat.
Was there anything else like noteworthy in the live stream?
I actually made a quick list. So like,
Oh, you made a
it was kind of
list?
cool to they talked about, and they were kind of like stopping Steven. They're like, maybe you shouldn't be talking about this, but they have like one thing I was worried about the node system is figuring out how it will work and how like different nodes will lock each other out and stuff like that. And it sounds like internally they have a simulator for nodes and how someone has built a map, built all 106 nodes, and then dev'd it so like he can simulate how the different nodes will develop and lock each other out and stuff like that. So that was just cool to hear that they
I mean, I figured they
had
would
that
have.
tech internally.
I figured they would have something that to simulate that. They had to.
It's one of those things where I wasn't sure if they were just kind of like kicking that can down the aisle and wait until it was something they actually had to figure out. But I mean, that's a really important thing for the node system, and it's nice to hear internally they have something for that. I had a note of cosmetics look pretty, because they showed the what was it, that Fate set that we got like 3 years ago.
I think I have that.
Yeah, that looked pretty good.
It's gonna look so badass on an orc.
We kind of talked about the dwarf rework, so that's kind of reassuring. They're going to make stoutier dwarves.
I mean, they had to. They had to.
Nobody lied. I don't know anybody that said, "Oh, I fucking love how the dwarves look right now."
The dwarves looked like little kids or gnomes.
Everyone said they look like gnomes.
Yeah, exactly.
No one had good feedback on
dwarves. Don't
the
do
dwarves.
somersaults.
Yeah, I heard someone else say that. They're like, they didn't really like how the dwarves were doing their little jumpy rolls. I guess since you have this picture up, yeah, the dwarf armor.
Yeah,
I thought this was something that was cool just because this is, I think, I feel like we've had this in the past, but there was one of the first times where that they have shown the gear progression.
Yeah, they've shown it before.
For race armor.
Oh.
Because it's something that I think some people, especially newer people, weren't completely understanding, that like each race has its own armor design, and then cosmetics are kind of a way to override that. So it was kind of cool that they showed the full progression of that. I kind of wanted to talk about it, because I think the idea of low level gear needing to look bad is possibly, I don't know how much value we're getting out of that idea, and I wonder if it's hurting.
I wouldn't.
It can hurt games.
You said this in the pre-show, and I also kind of want to have a talk about this.
I talk about it. Go
So
ahead.
just the idea of like when you start the game, your character almost has to look bad, and you have to progress in the game to look somewhat good. And the thing is I feel like there's ways to always look better and better and better, but starting someone out maybe a little higher up where their character's silhouette's a little bit more fun than just like the base model.
I
mean, how much we're losing by
in terms of basic gear, like it's the start of your adventure. You're not like this well-known hero. You haven't gotten your stuff made. You haven't found all this stuff. You haven't geared up. You're at the starting zone. And
you
so
see,
like,
I disagree with that. I freaking disagree with that.
Okay.
And the reason I disagree with that is because you are an adventurer coming back to Vera. So you're not coming as some, farmer with only like shirt, pants,
Like a
and
wooden
shoes.
sword and his
Exactly.
pitchfork.
You come back to Vera like ready, ready to go. So I think you should actually be somehow
You're
dressed.
a settler, more like if maybe a soldier. You could probably. I don't know if you could
But
probably
you're
like.
still going in, like your gear is to defend yourself, and so it's like I'm not going to go start. I'm not going to
Possibly.
jump into Vera looking like this.
But we're not
Like-
gonna. But they're not gonna know. They're not gonna know what they're jumping. It's been 10,000 years. It's probably been stories about like what happened in the fall.
But the people.
Maybe
Okay, sorry, I'm interrupting. Go.
the 10,000 years since the fall of Era. They're going to this new world to settle and stuff like that. I don't know. Like maybe you're a soldier. Maybe you could be in like soldier's gear. I think like going down this idea, it might be cool if you could pick your origin. Like, are you a farmer or are you a soldier? And then that determines like your starting gear.
I mean, you already be able to wear cosmetics.
I mean, you're already able to like kind of use a weapon, and I think it's kind of what BCG said, where like I think it would be communicated to you what you'd be doing, and
But,
it's not
alright.
like a lot of players are jumping into this game and be like, oh wait, I have to go fight things.
Here's
And I don't
where
think your character-
here's my thing about that is too. So if you're a fighter, if you're one of the fighter classes, it makes sense if you know how to use weapon. If you're a mage, Sanctus doesn't have magic. There's no possible reason that you would know how to use magic if you came from Sanctus.
That makes sense.
So
I get that. That's one of those things I'm able to just brush under the rug. It's just like, okay, yeah, because I still like the idea of us coming from Sanctus. But
you're
yeah,
not gonna
I get
come.
how
You're not gonna come to Sanctus with a wand in hand and magic robes to be able
But
to.
also,
But to be fair, you'd also there was people who have scouted Vera, so
But
they've come back and been like, hey, there's things you can do. So it would make sense that maybe some people are like, oh yeah, you can now use magic.
Can they come?
Let's pull
We
out
don't.
the old tomes.
listen,
Can they come back? The portal could be like a one-way thing because the portal could be a one-way thing, and then people are just going through it and settling there. It's not. It could. It's hard to say if the portal is a two-way thing. Yet, because like in a lot of these stories, there have been other stories about like this. A portal's open and we're going to settle there. And a lot of those stories, the portal's only one way.
But
listen.
I mean,
it
this is
doesn't
where, like-
matter. It doesn't matter. Because you will be able to wear cosmetics as soon as you get into online.
yeah, but I don't know if you need to like. But and then I agree with that.
So you
but
can look like
I don't
you
know
can
if
be the
like
biggest.
being like people. If you want to look good when you start out, you need to wear cosmetics.
Sure.
And just for like the new player, especially players who aren't used to MMOs, to be like, hey, your character looks kind of okay.
For this discussion, I don't want to count cosmetics. Everyone's gonna buy cosmetics to look good.
Okay.
For this discussion, you can't. For this kind of discussion, you can't count cosmetics
Okay.
because you can automatically gear yourself up into like in-game looking gear.
But yeah, no, I was just
I mean, you shouldn't look like you're looking WoW. You should look like you're going on a safari. I feel.
I don't know. I think it would be better experience for the player if they looked semi-decent when they started out. Like their character didn't look like complete shit.
Yeah, I mean that would make more sense. Like if you do, like you're going on what's it called, an expedition, to another world. So you should at least like have a backpack, and all that stuff. Look like you are prepared to go to another world, not like
I
just-
100% agree with that. You should have a backpack. Look like you're coming to this world. Also,
Exactly.
If you can't come back, you probably sold the family farm.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
probably bought yourself an okay set of gear. It's probably not magical like what you'll find on Vera, but it'll probably look halfway decent.
I would find it okay,
also,
unless it's the Terminator portal. You come through the portal butt naked.
all right, but
I'll be
all right,
back.
no, I don't think it's like that. But like, so another thing is like, you can pick your class and character customization, but I honestly don't think you should get your first skill until you talk to like a trainer in the world. For your special for your class. Or have it to where like your first decision is like your first decision in the world is what class you want to be. Don't have the character customization be the class. Don't have it in character customization. Have it out in the world where in these first towns you have like the trainers for each of these classes, and you talk to this person, you get your class.
By the way, we're super off topic again.
No, yeah, we're
Look,
talking
I wanted
about
to talk about this though.
yeah. We're not talking about the live
And I
stream
think
anymore.
it aligned with the live stream because they showed the gear progression. You're going to start out as that baby dwarf with leather, and you're going to like build up your armor. I'm just wondering if it should start at least at like stage 2, possibly 3. Just something so it's like the character loads in the game, the player loads in the game, and it's like, oh, my character looks kind of cool. I'm pretty excited. I want to play this cool looking character.
I think that the idea, I think the basic defense for that in most games is that like it's the start of your adventure, yada yada yada. But I would not be opposed to the idea of, because you're a person coming from this world, picking your origin. Like if you're a soldier, you're in a soldier's outfit. If you were a farmer, you're in a farmer's get up. If you were a craftsman, you're inside like you're like a blacksmith. You're inside like a
I mean,
blacksmith.
they could also always make like a little scripted single player mission thing where you come through, introduction tutorial kind of thing where that goes like 30 minutes. You come through, you're super high end dressed, ready to go to war, and then you have like this little side mission, and then you end up getting pushed off a cliff, and then somebody finds you and all your gear is gone.
Yeah. I think like Terra, I've played some games that did stuff like that where you start out like an epic badass, and then
you get
like that first experience to your class, and then you're able to
and then you get shit on, and then you have to start.
But there's no precedent for you to be this epic badass inside Vera, because you're coming from Sanctus where you don't have the essence. There's no magic in the world. You can't do like, even as a warrior, you can't do these super magic super amazing things. Mages, if you picked a mage class, there's absolutely no reason you'd be a master coming out of the gate and then be downgraded to the.
I'm gonna be looking forward to see how they're gonna do this and handle this lore wise.
I think my understanding is, I mean, there's been a forward scouting party and they've relayed information, and I imagine that information has been able to get to people, and
but there is no magic in Sanctus. So even if like describing magic, you're not going to be able to like just use it and say because there's no magic there. You can't just use fireball. You until you go there and learn like this is how magic feels. Which is why I do think like you shouldn't get your first skill should be taught to you from a trainer in the world, and then that puts you down the path to be able to like you shouldn't get your skills until you talk to this. Like the first quest, talk to the trainer, or like one of the first quests is talk to the trainer, learn how to do your class. If you're a soldier, you're soldier. People are learning how to do magic. People have been here. The first expeditionary party has learned how to like do some of the basic magics, and so you're being taught how to do the basic magics. And then as you progress through the world, that's when you're personally learning how to master the magics of the world. Also, so like based off of this too,
I'm just gonna change the topic to off track.
Based off of this thought process too, is like we go through the processes of node progression into metropolises, and then wars happening and all this other stuff. There are seasons in the world. You don't know, like, we could say you don't know, like, how much, like, in-game, lore-wise time progresses. So you could have, like, throughout your adventure, you could be, like, a well-seasoned veteran by the time you're level 60. In terms of, like, lore years. But, yeah,
What if the story goes like this? They sent in these scouting parties, and these scouting parties brought back some kind of magic that was then used in Sanctus to teach people a little bit about magic.
That would depend heavily on if magic works through the portal. So because like you would imagine like if magic was able to be transported, why wouldn't people like take magical or magical relics and stuff like that through to Sanctus in the first place? Like I just think Sanctus is devoid of magic because there's
how old can elves and ashes get?
We don't know. They haven't set a age frame for the races.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna handle this. If they don't handle it, I'm gonna call Steven out on it. Like, hey, Steven, that's some lazy fucking writing. Fix it.
Yeah,
Okay, you have to give them some leeway between.
You know I do. I'm just kidding. Jesus Christ, stop being such a white knight.
I have a suspension. Like, so I'm not gonna give them shit for. Oh, I'm a mage class. I instantly know how to use Fireball, but I would like a little bit of story about like, because I asked this question a lot. Like, you're a summoner, you're a mage, you're a cleric. You've been disconnected. So a cleric too. You've been disconnected from your gods for a long time. They could possibly not worship the same god. Like by the time they go to Sanctus, they could worship not worship the same gods. The gods probably we don't know if the gods have influence over in Sanctus or not. So a cleric being able to tap into it, they should theoretically have a spiritual awakening with their said god. Or like something should happen, maybe they do worship the same gods over in Sanctus, but when they come over, that connection to their god like sparks up, and then they get like this like a feeling that their god's there.
Well, is cleric even tied to gods? Because
It's
cleric
healing.
is just the.
It's the class. Yeah, you're right.
Is it because it's just life and death magic that they're like? So instead of being like arcane and elemental, like your normal mages, they're able to do life and death.
They channel the essence in life and death magic. You're right. It's not tied to the gods. It's just like when you think cleric, you think god, a religious type of class. Same with holy magic. Holy magic's usually tied to healing magic is tied to holy magic, and holy magic tied to a god. But you're right. But my thing is like, so with what BCG said is like with them taking over magic, it's magic over to the portal. It's like two things there. Is the portal two ways at this point? And is when magic comes over to Sanctus, is it still usable? This is also like, so I've said this before. Is like one of my thought processes for a expansion is that Sanctus is like you'll get an invasionary force from Sanctus that uses like, because Sanctus is more technologically advanced than Vera. You get this invasionary force that comes over. You get this like and that's one of the DLCs is Sanctus versus Vera. They're coming over here to steal the
that is super stolen
magic. Steal the magic and bring it back to
that sounds like World of Warcraft Legion.
I've said it before and people like the idea.
I mean, yeah,
I've
it's a
said
good
it before
idea.
on the podcast.
It depends on how they set it up.
Yeah.
You know?
But pretty much the idea is like Sanctus is coming over here, they're more technologically advanced, and then they want to steal the magic and bring it back to Sanctus. So like that really depends if the magic can be brought through the portal. But you would think if magic could be brought through the portal, people would have brought magic to Sanctus, like magic artifacts, and all during the first migration.
And it depends on also like what forces did remain on Sanctus. You know, then that is now coming over, because under my impression was that everybody from Sanctus comes back to Vera.
No, I think we're just supposed to be settlers. Like, we're the crazy fuckers. We're like, oh yeah, I want to go to this place. Everyone else is like, we're chill on Sanctus. We have food.
Yeah,
you're go over there.
You're like coming to the new world. You're a settler. Like there's not like this big apocalyptic event happening on Sanctus now, and then everyone's moving to Vera. It's just like you're one of the first people that's like, oh, we want to explore this place. We want to explore this new world, this new place.
All right. So next topic.
I had the Vec were confirmed to be between Dunir and Valoon in height. So that's kind of neat.
I mean, we did
I don't know if
know
anyone
that.
wants to talk about that. Just the
I
Vec.
mean, we did know that the Vec were not really like tall. I really. You know why the Vec threw me off a little bit?
Why?
We have that one cosmetic pack that was inspired by the Vec. That one blue guy. You know
The
which one?
blue work, yeah, the blue work one, yeah.
Yeah, that threw me off a lot because that's how the Vec look. They don't really look like anything special, to be honest. They look kind of like a straight up walking World of Warcraft troll with smaller tusks.
Some people are into that.
No.
You know.
The way the Vec are described, I would say, yeah, probably like a big goblin or a troll. Yeah, the way the Vec are described, I definitely get troll vibes from them.
Yeah, definitely. Are they gotta be hunchbacks? I want them to be hunchbacks. I want them to be like disformed and stuff.
We
But
had
they're
that one early cosmetic, I think, that had a Vec that was kind of hunched back.
Yeah, the
but
one that I know which one you're talking about. That's what
it
I.
was like a merchant.
Yeah, exactly that one, and that's why that cosmetic pack that came later threw me off, because like then it's like the complete opposite.
Well, I think the Fate cosmetic, the one that we got the model for, I thought that was also supposed to be Vec.
I mean, it's time we see freaking orcs. It's been 4.5 years. Give me some orcs. Give me some orcs.
Yeah, yeah.
Orcs.
I'm anxious for
No
other
more,
things,
no more
but
elves. No more Dunir. You can throw the Trulner in the trash. Just orcs.
you go fuck yourself.
Shut the fuck up. Orcs are supreme.
But yeah. I mean,
Didn't they?
we'll
Wait,
see.
no, but didn't Steven say like not too long ago that we should get orcs and Trulner at the end of the year?
I'm not gonna say Tolnar at the end of the year. Maybe. I don't remember him saying that in about orcs either. But hopefully we'll see. Like we've seen, stuff for orcs recently, like within the past year. I wouldn't say orcs are too far off. Probably definitely not gonna see anything Tolnar until Alpha 2.
Alright, sweet.
Later Alpha 2.
Sweet.
The last thing I had for a note from the live stream was you mentioned tattoos. We hadn't heard about those in a while.
We haven't heard about those in a while. They did talk about the tattoo system a bit. If like people that haven't been following the game for like a long time probably didn't even remember that the tattoo, like didn't even know the tattoo system was a thing. People that have been following it, I probably forgot about it. I bring it up every now and then. I bring up a lot of stuff that we haven't talked about in a while. But yeah, the tattoo system, people that don't know, is a stat allocation system. So you like put these tats on you and say like you're not happy with your like I'm not gonna say you're not happy, but like you want to beef up your strength stat. You put some strength tats on you. You want to, but it's not just gonna beef up your strength. It's just gonna downgrade your say wisdom, intellect.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take away some stats and then beef up other stats. And like you only have so many tat slots. You're not gonna be able to like.
You think you can like freely remove and add new tats, or is it like you have to make a choice and you can only make it once?
I mean, I imagine you can change it. I'm hoping it's not like something you just change on the fly. It's like, oh, it's not like your gear. It's like, oh, I'm going to change my gloves and change my tats. But yeah, I imagine you could change them.
They should.
I would like a reset system for the tats, but I don't want it to be like tats are just like this piece of equipment. Like Arcage has a similar stat allocation thing. I think it's a lot more permanent. I remember it being a lot more permanent, to where like you get these boxes, and then for stuff it was like a daily thing. I don't 100% remember, but you they beefed up a stat, and then you could take away from another stat. So I think it's gonna work a lot like how the stat thing in Arcade worked.
I would like them to do it so you have to, if you have tattoos and you want to remove them, that you have to apply a magic potion that takes 3 days to remove the tattoo.
I don't know about 3 days. Like,
Okay, then a week.
I don't definitely have it not be like something that you could like just cheaply do or do on the fly. But
I mean, it's a tattoo. You shouldn't be able to instantly remove a tattoo.
true.
So have a magic
I
potion.
I want the tattoos to show up on your body too. But like like
a potion that takes 3 days. I think that sounds, even from a roleplay perspective, reasonable.
a potion that removes ink from your body. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a thing either. But I don't know how they would do a time gated system like that. I know the time gated systems are a thing, but like that, I can't really picture it. So like I probably wouldn't do I drank this potion, it's gonna take 3 days to take effect, kind of thing.
No, not you don't drink it. You put it. It puts the lotion on the skin.
Yeah, but it's essentially the same thing. You're consuming the potion, and then it takes 3 days to take effect. Like I can't think of a game that's done that. Where like
nobody has done that. Nobody.
Yeah.
You can't be the first with lotion.
I think
don't know. I just
as soon as you drink it, it should take effect. But it should be expensive and it shouldn't be something that's easily done.
Like I get like having a high level of customization is always fun, but also I feel like if you make certain things too easy, I don't know, it becomes kind of useless to have a system like that. Why not just have like an extra window where you can, switch stats around?
Yeah,
you have to kind of.
I agree. It's like it just
like in World of Warcraft, you can change your looks like that. If you have something that has an impact on your stats, it shouldn't be something that you can easily fix, replace, and do over again. You should really have to think about your choices and then decide, and then live with them choices for at least a couple days.
Or make it permanent. The tattoo system could be permanent.
But on the other side, Z writes, but on the other side of the stats you choose don't work, you would have to wait 3 days. I know, risk and reward. If they work, there's your reward. If it doesn't, there's a risk to it.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about like right now. Is like if the tattoo should be permanent, or how easy, because they are a stat change system, how easy the tats should be to change. Like they shouldn't be on the fly. Like oh, I'm taking off my armor.
Well, then let them be triggered. Z, let them be triggered. It's after all, it's a role-playing game, not like.
There are plenty of games that do the stat migration thing, but it's a permanent decision. So like you have your base game stuff where like you've leveled up and like you like all that stuff, but like I said in Arcade, they have this like little box thing. I don't remember what the fuck it is, but like when you pick, like I'm raising my intelligence because I'm an intelligence based class. Yeah, perma.
I'm down. I'm cool with perma.
Their tattoos, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't be permanent. In this time frame, especially. There's not like we're at the point in time where we're just lasering them off.
Ideas like this that involve game mechanics, changing character stats, shouldn't be designed around visual lore aspects. I mean,
it's not designed around visual lore. We're not talking about that.
We're talking
about how easy it is to remove said stat change.
Yeah, exactly. How to make it blah 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 blah.
How to make it more of a commitment as opposed to just part of the meta.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So should they be permanent? Should they be like extremely difficult to take off? Should they be just like a set of equipment that I have these tattoo slots. I can just like take off this tattoo and move it back.
I mean, here's the thing. Gear you can change makes sense, right? But having an extra mechanic or game system that changes your character stats, right? And then have it be behind a visual thing like tattoos, but then it being able to be changed like on the fly kind of breaks the idea or breaks the purpose of it being a tattoo system. Tattoos are permanent, right? So it should be, something that is either you do it once and done, or it is gated behind a long cooldown. But if you can, get a set of tattoos, go to a dummy, test how your damage is, and then go back and instantly change back tattoos, why even then have tattoos? And if you say for cosmetic reasons, then have tattoos without any stats.
So I based the thing that they're permanent, not based off the fact that they're named tattoos, but because the other games have done this similar mechanic and made them permanent. Yes, games do stat allocation from the very beginning. You can change your stats, and then do there are a lot of games that do that, and then you can go to someone and pay for like a stat reset. But we're talking about, but that's not how Ashes is gonna. You're not like choosing your stats like throughout your leveling process. Your stats are based off of your race and class, your race and primary class. So those are so your race has a seed stat, and then your class determines your stat growth. What tattoos do is that like after your they're a stat allocation system. So like it's taking away from intelligence and moving it to strength. That's what like this specific this tattoo does. And then this tattoo takes away from dexterity and adds an intelligence and yada yada yada, so on and so forth. The idea the thing about it is like, it doesn't need permanent. The idea of them being tattoos, they probably should be permanent. But most games also do a permanent stat system as well.
I think they'd be.
I mean, I think
they shouldn't be easy to change, but I don't know if.
It all
just
depends.
Because you'll probably want to change your stat priority as time goes on. So I don't think it's something you should be able to change first encounter or even play session, but it would make sense if you could. You're gonna try out a new magey build, so you want to change up your stat priority.
From a role play perspective, you shouldn't be able to change on the fly. From a user friendly system, you should be able to change it rather easily. It depends on what Steven wants to do. Like risk and reward, choices have an impact. That's like one of the main themes of Ashes. So if you decide, hey, I want to get a skull on my forehead as a tattoo to increase my, crit chance, then that was your choice, and you shouldn't be able to instantly remove that dumb tattoo. At least from my point of view, that would make have an impact on what you want to do. Then have like a cooldown, you can change it again in 30 days. I'm cool with that. That adds to the roleplay aspect of a game. But I don't know how many people will like that. That's the other thing. I know a lot of MMORPG players are like min-maxing and don't really follow the whole roleplay aspect of a game. So,
I can understand not wanting to be a permanent system. Metas change a lot, and then like if the meta changes for your class, and you've already put in a bunch of these permanent stat things, then you've completely fucked over yourself for this meta.
You see, like I disagree, because for example, if you are, let's say, a warrior, like one of your main stats is always gonna be strength, right? If you
a dex warrior's a thing too.
Yeah, I know, but you're not gonna like the strength stuff is not gonna like impact you that much. Like, or if you're a mage, one of your main stats is gonna be intelligence. So if you
intelligence for damage, wisdom for mana.
Yeah, exactly. So if hey, I'm never gonna be at a disadvantage when I have this stat, maybe I should choose tattoos in that regard. Just don't get tattoos unless you're 100% sure you're gonna keep them in, like, problem solved.
I could totally see a like just from a lore perspective, a potion that gets rid of ink and dissolves the ink and gets rid of the magic behind the tattoo.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be
Um,
instantly. It should. I feel like it should be timed.
I think it should be instantly, but just really expensive. It shouldn't be like it should be a time. It should be a time sink in the fact that you're getting this tattoo, thing, and then also like a money sink. I think it should be instant. I don't think they should wait for it. I don't think it should be like, hey, oh, I've taken this potion and it takes 30 days to take effect.
I mean, could be, yes. Anyways, we're done for today.
We're done for today.
Yeah, we're done for today. I would normally we would do the 1 hour after hour on the Ashes Discord, but since I'm sitting on a bucket, I won't be joining today. I do apologize for that. But I don't know, Yoni and Stackerson, if they want to hang out.
He's not sitting on a bucket for the reasons that you're thinking he's sitting on a bucket. He's sitting on a bucket because
it's a shit
he doesn't have a chair. Yeah, I was trying to say that's not why you're doing it.
No, I was sitting on a bucket because my apartment is flooded, but my apartment is the only place that has decent internet. My hotel does not have decent internet, so I have to sit on a bucket right now because all my other stuff is in storage. There you go.
You don't know this, but BCG's actually on his phone right now, and he's in the woods over a shit bucket right now.
Exactly, that's how I'm doing. I'm hunting trolls. No, but yeah, I should be back to normal within the next, hopefully next month. I hope so. But I think it's a good refresher for people who do not see my beautiful face because all the stalkers are really getting a little bit annoying. But you guys got Stackerson and his long, beautiful hair. I'm just trying to get a reaction out of you. You look like you were dead, so I'm just making sure.
I'm just hanging out.
All right. So again, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. You will find this podcast episode on YouTube on Wednesday. And yeah, as always, people, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and we will see you on the Ash of Creation community Discord. Bye.
Bye.